Thank you for listening to Serves You Right. If you have not noticed, this show does not take any ads. I do that intentionally because I think they take away from the experience. However, there is something you can do to support this show, and it would mean the world to me. If you could subscribe, let us know that we're doing a good job. All right, enjoy. Steve Schneider, thanks for joining us. Serves You Right.
Thank you for having me.
You ever thank your parents for getting the alliteration in the name?
Well, believe it or not, oh no, I'm going to reveal state secrets right now, right off the bat. My first name is Richard, believe it or not. My middle name is Steve, that I've been going by. My father's name was Richard as well. So Steve, I was named after Steve McQueen, the king of cool. So that's pretty much the only, the coolest thing about me right there is that I was named after the king of cool. I try to live up to it every day, and I think I come up short. But yeah, that's a little bit. So now, the only people that know my real first name is Uncle Sam, my family, and you and your listeners, Andrew. So
we got it out of you, and it's only been 10 seconds. So yeah. What does it take to be one of the top 100 bartenders in the world?
Is that? Oh man. Listen, I've been bartending full time for could be entering my 24th year. So I've just been around a long time, I think. You stick with it. You keep doing something over and over again for long enough. You make good relationships with people you meet. You make a good impression on your colleagues and on your bosses, and then you become a boss yourself. And then it's within, I guess. Just stick with it, keep your head up, and one guest at a time, I guess, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, after 25 years, it might be embarrassing if you weren't top of No.
No, the world would be telling me something. But no, honestly, I'm super grateful for anything. Individual awards, though, in team sports for me are very, very strange, especially, the bar, which, it's the ultimate team, restaurants and bars, when it comes to everybody needing to contribute at a high level in order to put on something good. It's really hard to single out one person, because it doesn't matter how good the bartender is, doesn't matter how good one person is, if the whole team isn't pulling their weight, isn't contributing to some level of passion and greatness, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
So ultimately it might have my name on the thing, but it's anything individual that involves me, it's shared with anybody that I've worked next to or have influenced my career, or people that now, as I get older, I'm influencing. So it's one whole circle and one whole team, and I just want to be very clear off the bat. In fact, I feel weird even talking about it, because it's all about the team, and everybody knows that.
Yeah. No, it's like looking at a jazz band. It's like a whole ensemble, and picking out the second trombone and be like, that's why they sound good. It's that guy. It's like, well, he's part of it, but
no, everybody's got to do their part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is something I've noticed about looking into you and kind of what you've done. Your spots, you don't have any that you are outright like the owner. It seems like you're partners in pretty much everything.
That's right.
Is that by design?
Absolutely. I'm a sometimes really small partner, sometimes a little bit bigger, and I have a very specific job that I like to do, and I do it really well, I'd like to think. My track record at least says so. And I lean on other people to do what they're really good at as well, and that's sort of my style. Maybe we're talking maybe post Sip and Guzzle. We've got a 10 plus 5-year lease, so 15 years, maybe I'll be in my mid 50s. Maybe I'll just open up a bar by myself, like a little one, just to take me into retirement. But as far as, I like being a partner, I like being on a team, I like contributing without the pressure of being the one and only,
Yeah.
I like being the other guy. I love being the other guy. I'm Shingo's dumb friend, and everybody knows me as Shingo's dummy buddy that gets the job done. So that's I like to keep it that way,
Yeah.
I don't want all that pressure and responsibility, I want a little bit. But you add them all up, though. I have a lot of places where I have my hand in. So you add them all up, and financially it works. And It allows me to be in multiple places at once too, because some of my bars are in Asia. Some of them are here in New Jersey, some of them are in New York City. So it allows me to be in multiple places at once. Because if I'm not if I'm in one place, I'm not in the others. So having a strong team and really good partners in every venue, so it's
Yeah,
pretty clutch.
yeah, you probably wouldn't sleep very well at night if you were a sole owner and couldn't be in every place at once. So.
Yeah, you add them all up and stuff. And in my recent years, especially with Sip Guzzle being my main job, I'm like a bartender, full time bartender and bar manager. I've been sort of downsizing my mini empire of bars. I've been trying to like really cut back and stuff, and really just sort of take more like shareholder roles or more investor stuff like that. A little bit here, a little bit there. Try to give people the at bats that they deserve.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't be in two places at once too. Like
No.
you can't, yeah, work Sip and Guzzle and then work across the world that same day. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you walk us through kind of how you got into bartending? Because it wasn't a direct path. It was a little you were a Marine first, if I
I
understand
was.
correctly.
I was a
Which
senior
is
in high
awesome.
school. Yeah, during 9/11, I was a senior in high school right here in Bergen County, New Jersey. And it was a different time. I was class clown in high school. It was the best
Of
award I've ever
course.
won, best
Yeah.
individual award I ever won. Um,
No competitors. Yeah. No.
yeah, I was a prankster for sure, but I was also an athlete, and I did not want to go to school. Maybe I had a little itch. I kind of wanted to be like a teacher, maybe something like that, because I kind of idolized a couple of my teachers as well. People who I don't know that they knew what I was about. This a couple of my teachers got me. They understood my
The
my
ones that
brand of
didn't write
humor
you
of what
off
I
right
was doing.
away, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So they were inspirational to me, but I just didn't want to go to school at that point in time. And 9/11 hit, and the country was in just this. You were there.
Oh, I
You know how the
remember. Oh,
country
yeah. I
was.
was a
It
little
just
younger, but yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It was crazy.
It was a pretty intense time, and so I signed up for the Marines right then and there. My father loved it. My mother not so much. I had some family in the military, and yeah, barely graduated high school, and then went off to the military, and I just I loved it. I was number one in my class, and then I had a head injury before I got deployed, and I had 52 staples put in my head, 3 plates. I was in a coma, and I was sort of how do I say this? But I wasn't gonna make it really. But I just think my stubbornness, my youth, and I was in pretty good shape, or I just got plain flat out lucky,
Yeah.
and that led me to Washington D.C., where I was a patient in Bethesda, Maryland. And Bethesda, Maryland has like one of the biggest naval hospitals in the country, if not the biggest, I forget. And I had to do brain rehab and all this stuff. And I worked on base in a gym, handing out towels. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but with
No.
that job, I had extra time because I needed to go. They put all the injured Marines in that unit there. There was a guy that got run over by a tank in my unit. There's a couple of
Jeez.
guys with
Yeah.
cancer. A guy got shot in the leg with an RPG. And it was me with my head injury. So we had all of our appointments. So we worked in the gym that allowed us to go to these appointments. But with that came a lot of spare time. So I walked past a bar in Washington, D.C., in Georgetown that said help wanted. And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
That'd
So
help. Yeah.
yeah, I showed up, and I remember the guy, the general manager slash bartender. It was this like live music venue, divey, 18 beers on tap, disco shots. I remember he was such an old guy. He was 30. I was like, wow, this guy. Look at this adult. He was so old, and he's like, yeah, you want a bar back? I said, yeah, sure, whatever that is, and then.
Quickly learned what that is, right?
Yeah, cleaning up puke and beating up Georgetown kids. That's pretty much what it was. Super easy, by the way. Um, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
And then we used to play poker after our shift, right? And the World Series of Poker was on ESPN at this point. It was like Texas Hold'em was huge, and we'd play after the shift. And since I was the youngest, I was still a teenager. I was always tasked to making the bartenders drinks, whether it be shooters or beers or, one and ones,
Whiskey
whatever.
Coke, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Gin and tonic, vodka soda, that whole deal. And then, because that's all that we would serve really. And then as we got busy, they would ask me to make drinks, and then that turned into a shift, and that turned into another shift, and that turned into a passion, really. And that gave me something to look forward to. I loved working the weekends at this little divey place. It was a lot of fun. I liked working with the team, in our little
Mhm.
fighting hole, fending off the crowd. I love volume. I love the energy. I love the music, and yeah, it was a different product, but it was the same sort of rush that I get today. It was obviously we're making different stuff, and that's, I got discharged, and then one thing led to another. I stuck with it. There's like a speed bartending competition that was in the DC area for like
Mhm.
30 years at the time, and I won that several times. So now I was like training to like do this stuff, speed and accuracy competitions and stuff. It was kind of like the towards the tail end of like the big flair bartender era as well. And
Sure.
a lot of times during flair stuff, I don't know if they still do. They probably do, but there's pour tests, so you had to pass pour tests in order to even get on stage. So I didn't. I did. I have 24 years worth of 2 years experience flaring. So I learned 2 years worth of stuff, and I just keep going with the same stuff. But I'm a big. I love flair bartending and stuff, and then but with that, I really enjoyed the speed and accuracy part of like the flair bartending world, and that led me to meet a guy named John Hogan who was from the DC area, but had a company out of Vegas
Mm.
with Tobin Ellis. It was called Bar Magic, and he was
Oh,
consulting. Yeah,
yeah. Tobin's been on the show. He's
nice.
a good
Yeah,
guy.
I
Yeah.
saw him yesterday. Believe it or not, he was
Oh, yeah.
actually at Guzzle. Yeah.
He got
Uh,
his book out, so
oh, nice.
he's riding high. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
Mm.
He didn't necessarily mentor me, but his camp kind of did, and that's where I sort of learned proper free pouring techniques and like fresh ingredients, and a lot of this stuff back then too was a lot of the molecular stuff. Turning a
The foams, the
olive, yeah,
spherification.
turning an
Yeah.
olive brine into a little fucking sphere. So things like that. And then, but it's just I met adults who did the job for a living, and I wanted to own a bar from the first bar I ever worked at. Um, so just one thing led to another, and went back home to the Bergen County, and I was working in Hoboken, New Jersey. That led me, right in New York City's doorstep, and met the guys from EO, Employees Only, that is, and was there now, geez, 2007, almost, 19 years, 19 years with
Wow.
that company. So,
What a ride.
yeah,
I do want to bring us back to the beginning because I always find this fascinating, and a lot of people that have stuck with bartending have kind of felt this. But when you did that first bar backing job, even though it kind of sucked, like, because bar backing just isn't glamorous. How did that feel? Did it connect with you, or was it
yeah,
until
it felt
you?
great. I was the guy feeding the ammo.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
for
the
sure.
I was the guy holding. There's the guy on the big gun, and there's the guy holding the ammo. I was the guy holding the ammo. It was great. Yeah,
Exactly.
no pressure. Obviously, the money wasn't as good. Sometimes
No,
it'll
not at
cost
all.
me
Not at
more
all.
money to get to work and eat and park than it would than I'd make. But
Yeah.
like you take the hits, you go through the struggles, you have fun until you can figure out a way to make money.
I'm so
Um,
glad you said that too, because I first bar backed when I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and there were totally times where the parking or the parking ticket, which is usually what happened,
yeah.
was more than what I made as the bar back.
Yeah, it's
But I
like
loved that job. I loved
it's
it.
that
Yeah.
emptiness you feel when something like that happens. It's just it's part of the growing pains. I think it's part of your earning your stripes. I guess if I'm
Yeah.
going to keep using military puns.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, I think if you can actually work through that, keep showing up, you realize that, okay, this is one of the people that's crazy enough to actually be a bartender.
Yeah,
they're
and
gonna
it was
keep
a
showing
different
up.
era too.
Yeah,
This was a wild era as well. It just
yeah.
anything went. It was pre-social media really.
No, no cell
I
phones
used to
with
chew
cameras.
tobacco
Yeah.
behind the bar and spit in a bucket. It was gross. If I could kick
Yeah.
my own ass, I would. I'll go back in time. But it's
uh,
just I don't want to be. I hate being like a back in my day guy. So I'll
hmm.
speak fondly about my times as a very young junior bartender, and then how things were. But I've today is like the most fulfilling time I've ever had as a bartender, and the talent level is
Yeah.
so high, and it's just nice to look back on my career and just to be able to sit here and talk about it is pretty special. And thanks again for having me on because I
Yeah,
don't
of
take it for
course.
granted.
Yeah, I think, there are a lot of people out there too who, y- when you're in this industry, you can feel pretty aimless. Like it's pretty easy to get like in that trap of like the job's not great. Should I leave? Should I stay? Like where am I going with this? I feel like this industry chews up a lot of people and spits them out with no ambition. So it is nice to see people that have progressed and keep improving as they go on too.
I agree. I think it's important to have goals in any kind of line of work you're in. Um, and on your path, upwards, there's going to be a lot of pitfalls and a lot of or whatever, a lot of forks in the road, a lot of setbacks, and a lot of bumps. And you just got to keep your eye on the prize and take the hits as they come, and have a short memory about it. Get back on the horse.
I wonder, do you feel like that, like having that right at the beginning of your career in the bar world, a literal hit that took you out of another line of work, do you feel like that set you up to just kind of endure?
I think I have a different approach to bartending. I think it saved my life. Back here, I almost said it, but back when I started, the bartender was a different style, right? I was a different style of person that became a bartender. It was someone who failed at something else, someone who was trying to be someone else, someone
Hmm.
who maybe was in prison. They get out, and what else do I do? Like
They'll still hire me, yeah,
bartending
sort of
was the
thing.
job you
Yeah.
got when you had nothing else.
Hmm.
And now, of course, there's like college courses on bartending and stuff, which is awesome. It's so freaking cool, and to be on the front line, so to speak, of the whole thing, it's been really awesome to watch. But for me, the bartending, I've said this several times, but I like to think it saved my life. I was an injured Marine with nothing really going for him. I was depressed. I was sad. I was trying to survive on my own. I had friends who didn't make it. This was during the second Iraqi war. I had friends come back in pieces, and that stuff sticks with you, man. It really does. And to be able to just like have a job that I was having fun, it it sort of just gave me a new outlook on life. I stopped feeling bad for myself and started embracing that I was a lucky man. And this business, honestly, I think it was the first step to recovery was just doing something that I fell in love with. So for me, I didn't, the hits that they weren't, who's going to hit harder than my experience in life, like when laying in a bed trying to like will myself to survive a brain injury, being confused and sad and depressed. It's like I get a chance to go and work with some people every day and, be this sort of harbinger of good times, it's
Yeah, that makes a lot of
infectious. It's
sense. Yeah.
infectious. And it gave me, I think being happy and being proud of myself doing something was the first step to really recovery and embracing this world, this bar world. And it's something that I continue to do every day. Every day is another chance, And
Yeah.
now, I have, a young daughter of my own, and just happy to be here, and I'm trying to take advantage of that every day I can. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows as well. There's always, I got some tough days like anyone else, but you know, again, you just take the
Who
hits.
doesn't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. We will get right back to the show, I promise you. If you have not had a chance, please leave a comment. It would mean the world to me. I love hearing from my listeners, and I love people that ask questions, challenge me. It's the whole reason I do this. So yeah, take a moment. Even if it's just, this rocks, this sucks, doesn't matter. All right, back to it. It's Tim Ferriss, I think, he says this, like, if you ever feel depressed or sad, one of the fastest ways to get out of it is to go make someone else feel good. And like that is what bartending is. You're just, I mean, you can't make everyone feel good, and some people are there for their own reasons, but in general, like most shifts, you're there to almost like host a party that people are excited to be at. And you like, it's their end of the day, their celebrations, all that.
And some people, you're a vending machine, you know, like you gotta be a lot of different people to a lot of different people, you know, and that's part of the job. And to be able to like not take things so personally, you know, if somebody's you know, giving you a hard time, forget about it, move on to the next. Focus your energy on the people that are into what you're doing, and just, you know, provide good service to the people that just want good service, and then provide different levels of hospitality to people that want different things. And I just think that comes with a lot of experience and age, and you know, you just kind of learn which bartender to be with which person.
Yeah, but you are always useful, though. You know what I mean? Like you're always providing a use, whatever role you're playing for that person.
Yep.
Which is really nice.
That's what I try to be, at least. That's what I try to be, and what I try to sort of instill on the bartenders that work with me. You know, it's easier said than done. You know, I could tell you anything here. You know, I could, but it's something I really try to stick with that, and try to, you know, embrace that part of the job where it's like you can't be the same person to everybody. You need to be able to mold. You got to be liquid, and you just gotta, again, take the hits and enjoy the good people, and you know, the people that are tough. You just get them their drink, get them their food, refill the water, give them the bill, and move on.
Yep, it does get easier with time.
Yeah,
usually. Yeah. I can we go back to how you started at Employees Only? Because you kind of threw that in there, but I feel like that's a much bigger deal than most people's resume of a few seconds of like, yeah, then Employees Only. Like,
yeah, well, so this was a time now. It was like an age of discovery where, you know, bars and bartenders were still trying to figure this shit out. You know, there was still a lot of what's your real job questions. You know, there was I could count the bars in Manhattan on one hand, right? I believe the seniority went Angel Share, Milk and Honey, Flatiron Lounge, Employees Only, Pegu Club. Those are the only ones I knew of at the time. This was pre like Death and Co. and PDT. And I remember I was working in Hoboken at a place called the Elysian Cafe, and the bartender with me, my buddy John, he worked at Quality Meats in Manhattan as well. It's still open, believe it or not. But he's like, man, because I was doing the drinks, you know, at this little cafe, at this restaurant. I was doing the drinks, the drink menu and stuff, and I was like, I had homemade ingredients, and I was doing all that stuff I was telling you about earlier, the Vegas stuff. And it was fun, but it was still very much a V-shaped glass fruit martini kind of like world.
Yeah, they were cosmopolitans, but it was fresh juice. So yeah, right.
But yeah, and there was the French martini and the peach martini and the chocolate martini. It was like during that phase. And he's like, man, you got to go to this bar. It's called Employees Only. It's right off the Christopher Street path. It's right here. They've got like 8 different types of bitters. I was like, whoa, 8 different types of bitters. Count me in, man. So we show up, and I just had one of these New York experience moments. You know, I grew up right outside Manhattan, just a few miles from the George Washington Bridge, you know, 10 miles, 15 miles from Yankee Stadium. So I spent a significant time in New York, and I always wanted to be a New York City bartender, right? Something about it. I don't know what it was, but it was, the city was right there. And I'm, you know, a big New York sports fan, and I just wanted to be in the mix, you know, the energy of Manhattan. Every place I looked at on Craigslist said, for whatever bartending job, 3 years, 2 years experience, New York City experience. And I'm like, I had this great resume, and I was doing some really cool stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is New York City experience if I can't get a job in New York City? Like I don't get it. You know, I won all these speed bartending competitions. I could hold my own, you know?
What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think I found out they were just trying to weed out people that just really didn't want the job, or it was just something that they said.
Hmm.
I could have probably showed up and I would have gotten the job, but regardless, I'm getting off track. I go to employees only, right? I go through the curtain, and it just clicked. Professionals, I witnessed professionals, the sounds, the inaudible chatter, the ice clinging back and forth, clanging back and forth, the music, the lighting, the way the bartenders wore that white coat. I was like, whoa, I'm in the big leagues right here. I was like, how do I be these people? Like I don't want to be like them. I want to be that person right there. So I would just go there as a guest, and obviously I had the curly mustache. At the time, that's what you did. It's it's a time capsule,
Hmm.
but just showed up, tipped well. Was a fairly easy guest. Just ordered from the menu or ordered a beer and a shot, and was a little bit intimidated, to be honest. And then a buddy of mine, his name is Anthony. So the spot I worked at in Hoboken, he was a writer, right? And he was one of the editors of Mr. Boston's cocktail book, which is like this red little book
Oh yeah.
that had like 75
I've
versions,
worked in a bar with one of those behind it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was one of the editors. So it was him and Jim Meehan were the editors,
Hmm.
and it was his wife's 40th birthday, and he asked the owner of the bar that I was working at, this guy's name was Eugene, if he knew anybody that can bartend this event, create a cocktail. He's like, oh yeah, Steve's great. So Anthony knew Eugene because they used to work together way back in the day. So I created a cocktail for his wife's 40th birthday. They loved it. I brought my own bar. I had the mustache. Met Jim Meehan,
Hmm.
and what do you call it? There was a big event coming up, right? It was the New York City Wine and Food Festival. Now Anthony put me in the book, right? He put me my recipe and my name in the book. And people didn't get really written up at this point. So bartenders didn't get written up. Chefs were getting written up all the time. So to be written up was huge. I was like, wow, that was massive. And there was this big event. It was sponsored by the Food Network. It was the New York City Wine and Food Festival at the Highline Ballroom, which was this big nightclub in Meatpacking. And he's like, hey, the book's coming out. They want me there, but I'm not a bartender. Can you create a cocktail for this for like 600-700 people? And I'll put you on equal billing. I was like, yeah, no problem. So I get the email and they said, welcome mixologists. And on the bill was Tony Appleganum, Audrey Saunders, Julie Reiner, Jim Meehan, Dushan Zarek, Jay Cosmos from Employees Only, and then Steve Schneider, right? This 23-year-old kid. Who
What a
the
lineup.
heck is
What
this
a
guy?
lineup.
So
Yes.
I was like, Tony, what are you doing to me, man? He's like, I'll get someone else if you want. I was like, oh, no. I got you, man. So I made this like 12 ingredient cocktail, overly motivated, just completely overboard.
When
And
you get a chance in the sun, you just take your
I
shot.
had to
Like,
do
yeah.
it, yeah. But
Yeah.
then I show up to the event and I'm sharing a bar with the team from Employees Only. So they brought everybody, and we just got along. We clicked. We had the same kind of level of humor. We were both high volume, fast bartenders and stuff, and we just threw a massive party. And one of the barbacks that was just becoming a bartender, who's still one of my dearest friends, he's like, "Hey man, we got a spot opening. What are you doing? Do you wanna? You should work with us. You should put your resume in." So we were drunk, so I thought he was just talking shit. So I went back like a couple weeks later to Employees Only to kind of laugh about the night. I like lit things on fire. There was people dancing on the bar top. It was just an old school, rager. Um, it's funny, with the white coat, one of the bartenders, they had a drink that had strawberries and mint and cucumber, and it was all over his coat. It looked like camouflage. It looked like a fruit camouflage by the time it was done. So
Would you make 600 of those? Yeah, for sure.
and then, but the first thing I ran to the same guy. His name is Bratza. Bratza's like, "Hey, man, like, where's your resume? Like, we're waiting for you." So I was like, "Wow, this guy's serious." So he's like, "Man, bring your resume in. The owners are having a meeting. Like, trust me." He like tipped me off when they'll all be there. He's like, "Bring your resume. We already talked you up, man. You'll be good to go." So I went home and I actually put a resume together. And it was intense. I was written up. I'd won all these competitions, you know. I was like super impressive resume for the time. And then I show up to the meeting, and Igor's the first guy I see. He gives me a hug. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I was like, "Yeah, Bratza said, you know, you might have an opening. Here's my resume." And he opens it and closes it right away. He's like, "Former Marine, I like that. We can use a disciplined guy like you." And then he goes, "Will you start from the bottom?" I said, "I wouldn't want it any other way." He's like, "All right, come back next Thursday to train." And I trained with this guy Bratza one day, and then boom, I was right in it. And then, you know, it's just, I was finally in the big leagues. And, you know, there wasn't many bars to choose from at that time, cocktail bars at least, you know. So that's how I got started. And then one thing led to another, got promoted fairly quickly. My journey randomly was caught on film.
Yeah, Hey Bartender. Tell me, I was going to ask about that, so I'm glad you brought that up. How did that happen? Was
so
that planned, asked, like?
Well, the director, his name is Doug. He had made a bunch of documentaries, but he was involved in the film business. He was on the production team of A League of Their Own, the baseball movie. And he has his own company. They make documentaries, and award-winning and awesome. And he's a bar goer. He likes to go to bars. And again, at this time was the infancy, the age of discovery of the bar world, trying to figure this shit out. And he used to go to, like, the Kettle of Fish was his bar. And his mother sent him a newspaper clipping of Employees Only and said, "You should check this place out." So it was near his office.
Quick interjection, just because I know you're a dad, I'm not. What is the impulse that parents have to send newspaper clippings? Like, it is a universal thing. Like,
I don't know, but it's old school. Yeah, totally.
Sorry, that's a side road there, but yeah.
It's just, I find that, but I specifically mentioned the newspaper clipping part because I just think it adds so much to the charm, and it just puts you in a time capsule, really.
Sure.
It's just the way it was.
It's like, you don't have that impulse yet, right?
Yeah.
See you in 10 years.
Yeah, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
And he shows up, he goes through the curtain, and he has an experience, right? Deer in the headlights. I remember seeing him. He didn't know what the heck he was doing. And I tell this story often, and I'm like, I could have done one of two things. I could have made fun of him, look at this fucking guy, or brought him in and said, "Hey, I got a spot right here." So I did both, and set him up. And I was like, "Hey guys, look at this fucking guy. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing." So I'm like, "Hey buddy, come on in." So I sat him in front of me, and I was working service bar, and I was just cranking out tickets, hosting people, just doing whatever I normally did on a Tuesday, and he had like an aha moment. He's like, "Hey, this is not, I want to document this world. I don't know anything about it." He's like, "I'm a filmmaker. Do you mind if I interview you?" And, you know, I've heard this kind of stuff before. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, whatever, sure." So he comes by, whatever, a week later, and our supposed like 20-minute interview was like an hour and a half. And some of those were actually in Hey Bartender. And he's like, "Wow, this is amazing." Just talked philosophy, talked what this world is all about, what great drinks are all about, you know, just the status of the industry at the time. And he's like, "Can you help me open doors for me?" So then I opened doors to the owners of Employees Only, then to the other people, Dale DeGroffs of the world. You know, I introduced him. And, you know, a few years later, I was on the red carpet in Hollywood. You know, it's just chance, just doing my job, you know. And it's, you know, coincidentally, we won World's Best Bar at Tails. You know, I gotta unveil the curtain since you already know my real name. I might as well tell more state secrets. Sure. I got promoted at the end of Hey Bartender, but that was an editing movie magic. I got promoted way before that, so I was one of the principal bartenders when we won the thing. So It just was a better story if after we won, I got promoted. So I was
Yes.
like, I was always a little bit. I'd always give Doug shit about that.
Mm,
So yeah, that's kind of how Hey Bartender. That's how it started, man. And
it's wild.
just a chance encounter and a few years of having them kind of follow me around. And some people didn't take them seriously, and they ended up on the cutting room floor. Because when it came out, a lot of people were like, where am I? Because like the industry was
Yeah.
super small, and Doug's like, that when it came time to interview you, you were doing other things. It was like loud. It's like I don't know. I just gave this guy the time of day, and it worked out. I put my faith in him that he was gonna do the right thing, and he did. So
Hmm.
I'm super grateful because it opened up a lot of doors for me in my career.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, I'm starting to detect a theme here too. It's like luck, chance, but you lean in, show up, keep working, things work out. Like it's
Yeah,
like keeps happening, which
if you have
isn't a bad formula.
all I need, I just need a shot. I need an opportunity. I
Hmm.
need an at bat, and I think I can deliver. Um, uh, that's it. And then now I find myself in a position where I'm trying to open doors for other people,
Hmm.
and that's the way it goes, and it's super fulfilling, and I'm just in a really good spot professionally right now.
How did you transition to like partnership, like starting to own stakes in different places?
Well, employees only was so busy, especially in that post Hey Bartender world. We kind of outgrew the space. The founders were still young enough; they wanted to sort of expand. And Igor, the guy I first that hired me, the guy that sort of was my mentor guy was Igor. We'd bartend together. We would travel together. Every winter, he would go to Southeast Asia on a different sort of just a tour of Southeast Asia. And I would always take that time to cover shifts because money was so good back then. So like anytime I had a chance to cover and get extra shifts, I was all about it. So I would take his shifts. But he's
Bankrolling,
like, yeah,
yeah.
he's like, I'll give you your shifts, you'll make your money, but you got to come join me. So I would join. He'd be gone from New Year's Day to like end of March. He'd be gone. He'd just skip the whole winter. So I would join him for like 10 days. And it's funny. um, so he landed on Singapore as in one of his trips, and they speak English in Singapore. It's what the national language, I guess, is. And there was a couple cocktail bars at the time, like 28 Hong Kong Street, Nutmeg and Clove, Chicken and Pony, Operation Dagger. So there was a bunch of there was a handful of bars, similar to New York City at the time, a handful that kind of paved the way. And we just figured it'd be a nice market for employees only.
Hmm.
It's uh, it's just a great, clean, awesome sort of little place, and there was nothing like EO. So we had people that we knew that were out there that had not like a nightclub. And this guy, he had worked with Igor before, so he was kind of pitching employees only to Igor, and it piqued Igor's interest. Igor asked me if I'd be interested in being a part of it. So initially, I was like, man, that's tough. I'd been bartending for 13 years at this point. I felt, I was in my early 30s. I felt like I had the energy. I felt like I had the know-how. I was the bar manager of Employees Only New York. I was right place, right time. But making that move was tough.
Hmm.
And um, this is wild. I had a dog, right? And a pit bull. He was an awesome dog. And Employees Only, we finished fourth on the world's 50 best bar list. And I was in London, and I get a call from my roommate saying that the dog passed away like an hour later. Heartbreaking, man, heartbreaking. And those pit bulls, they're not allowed, in Singapore. Or just the whole process of going or just going there and doing that, was just not something I wanted to do. And I didn't want to leave him. And he passed, and it was such heartbreak. So this was in like October, and then I was just thinking, just trying to like get myself out of a funk. And then in like February, I finally was like, Igor, all right, let's do Singapore, man. So I just took a leap of faith. I put all the money I had into the project,
All of it.
Everything. Yeah, I remember I
Yeah.
flew out there with nothing. I put the whole thing. Kind of funny story. I was actually partying in Miami, um, and I got a message from the local partners in Singapore. They're like, "All right, it's a 12-hour time difference. Like, all right, time to transfer money." So I was like, "Oh no!" So I show up to the bank completely wasted, right? And I was like, I need to transfer all the money I have to Singapore. I had these like sunglasses on, and I'm looking like Weekend at Bernie's, man. I'm looking at Bernie. I'm looking like
Oh my
dead.
god.
Uh,
Ugh.
so
They're like, "Are
so
you
I
sure? Are you under
it took
duress,
me two
sir?"
hours. I
Yeah.
couldn't get my signature right, but
Oh my god.
finally we got it done. I sent all the money there. It was a significant point in my career. I wish I'd have remembered more of it, but that's what happened. And then maybe probably this was like in I don't know, in March, maybe late February, early March, and then we what do you call it? Um, I moved out there in April, and now we just turned 10 a couple months ago from the time of this recording.
Awesome.
And yeah, that
Congratulations.
sort of
Yeah.
started it, and it just had to take a leap of faith. I just putting my money was huge for me. It proved to be the starting point of something completely new in my career, and I would have done well if I didn't put my money in. But putting the money in, it sort of gave me that passive income that I really wanted, like
Mm.
from the start, was just to have because I took a pay cut going there to Singapore with the hopes that I'd have something more long term. You know,
Yeah.
just trying to think ahead a little bit. For someone, I used to burn the candle at both ends. I was a little bit of a loose cannon. I was enjoying every bit of my 20s and 30s, and I just had a moment though where you just get serious for a second. I had no one to turn it on, no one to turn it off. Get a little bit more disciplined, save my money, and
Mm.
put it all on the line. And for every story that I can tell you, there's a lot that didn't work out. So I'm grateful for that. And I was there every day trying to train a staff of Singaporean kids on what it means to be an employees only bartender because it's a big apprenticeship system starting from the bottom and learning the ropes, learning the culture, which I think is super important. So I had to bring the employees only culture and ethos of who we are as a brand to Singapore, to a market that had no idea. They just heard of a bar that won these awards with this guy that was in a film. They did not know what the heck it was. So, the whole country wanted to try, and we're not for everybody. So, just sticking with it and trying not to, get too discouraged, and just being present. It was tough. And I remember I was just, it took some years off my life. I lost so much weight. I was drinking a
Stressed,
lot,
I'm
stressed,
sure.
too much
Yeah.
coffee. It was hard because I had a show. Like in New York, we had 20 people working there that had been there for 10 years, And here I am. It's like,
Zero.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Here's.
am alone trying to train 20 people on what it means to be something that they don't necessarily know. So I was like super, every little detail had to be the way I wanted, right?
Mm.
Super, like even the way you put the menus back, the way you just, anything, the way you move, the way you shake, the way you pour, everything had to be my way because I knew the employee's only way, right? And it just was so hard. We took a couple of the kids that were like standouts. We took them to New York. I was just like, you know what? Let's just bring them to New York. Let's just show these kids what the heck we're talking about.
Let's see. They could see I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and they
Yeah.
were able to get that vibe and that energy and the lighting and the music, the inaudible chatter, that ambiance, the ice shaking back and forth, the way you just move and groove back there, the way you carry yourself, the way you stand up tall, the way you ooze confidence, but have the humility to be a host and a humble servant to your guests, just to do all that stuff, confidence without arrogance, and I remember this. We opened up in June, and it was January, and I've told this story on numerous occasions. But I went and saw a Sunday matinee of Les Mis, right, with their whatever the London version of Broadway is. I forgot who they are. They were in town. They were playing at
Yeah.
the Promenade. They had a little residency, and I enjoy, I enjoy theater. I'm not like a big buff or anything, but I enjoy a nice show and some like old school method of entertaining people. So I'm there, I'm watching Les Mis, and the music is great, the blocking, the lighting, uh, this everything, the costumes, and I'm looking at it, right, and I'm just seeing how everything is exactly the way they wanted. But I'm like, you know what? I bet someone messed up, and I bet someone went in the back was beating themselves up, but I couldn't tell. And I took that mentality back to employees only, and I was like, man, we're busy. We're cranking. Our investment's gonna be paid back in a matter of months already. It took us 9.5 months to pay back our investment.
Mm.
It's like my investment, all the money I had, it's coming back to me. Like everything's good, man. Like the guests are happy. They keep coming back. The staff is good. They've proven that they can fill that register, you know? I'm like, why are you so stressed out about everything, about the little shit? Let the kids that we didn't have this vernacular at the time, but let them cook, you know, let the kids cook.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's the sentiment was there. Just let these kids cook, and I did. And then I remember I show up, just a matter of weeks later, and I walk in. Finally took days off, just let the kids sort of come into their own. And I walk in, I go through the curtain, and the lighting was right, the music was right, the ambiance, the inaudible chatter, the movement, the grooving, the standing tall, and I'm like, they got it, like just like
Yeah.
that. I remember vividly the moment they got it, and I was like, job's done. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy this now. And it just completely, I did a 180 about my time and about just my approach to owning bars in general and being a partner where not everything's gonna go my way. Like you gotta compromise. You gotta just let people do them. Let go, let people shine, and
Mm.
you're gonna benefit from it.
Yeah. I do wonder though, especially it being your first spot, especially being such a huge transplant, a whole culture to somewhere where it's, never seen anything like it. Like, I wonder how much, like, you maybe did need, maybe not as long as you did, but you did probably need some intensity, and you probably had to be very particular for a while because, otherwise it would have just been like another bar, like,
The vision don't come true unless you're on site making it happen,
yeah.
doing it. And but again, you can still have that same core values, but it can be a little bit, Singaporean, whatever that means. Like
Hmm.
it's the staff. The staff makes bars. We all know that. You could come up with a concept, right? But you need the right people to execute it and put their own heart and soul into the project. Because otherwise, you just have bank tellers, like you want
Hmm.
bartenders that feel like they're contributing, or like not even bartenders but just any staff. You want them to feel like they're contributing to the product. And again, let them cook, like obviously,
Yeah.
it's not just like inmates running the asylum kind of thing. There's a level of
Yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
structure, but I'm
Yeah.
just talking on the inside. That's
Hmm.
sort of that's just my approach, really. And with each bar that I opened, with each bar that I became a partner with, the little things just don't bug me anymore. I know what's important for the now and what's important, what can wait, what'll you know what can be put off. I think
Yeah.
that's something that's really important. And again, just comes with experience and understanding, the situation and just being able to be liquid, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you only have one life too, and you literally can't be there every moment
Yeah.
unless you want to miss like your daughter's life, or like you have to be able to let go. And so,
This is
yeah.
my, I have a nice, I had a set schedule at least for the first couple of years. It's nice 5 days behind the bar. That has since changed a little bit this summer. I'm spending a lot more time traveling. I didn't
Mm.
travel much at the beginning, but post 50 Best, I've been really trying to take advantage of all these opportunities and stuff.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. While the sun's shining, so so
Yeah. Let's
yeah.
enjoy ourselves a little bit. But, there was a time in like 2019, 2018, 2018 I opened two places, but 2019, everything was clicking on all cylinders. I had a bunch of places, I had 4 places, five places. Forgot I sold that one, but I had 5 places at once, and they were all cranking, right? Um, and I was just kind of chilling. I lived in Lower Manhattan, and I was just kind of enjoying it, traveling from one venue to the other, this and that. But I felt myself getting older, and I felt myself just needing a little bit more stability and structure. And then in 2019, Shingo Gokan, my partner at Odd Couple and Sip and Guzzle, my dear friend, former Angel Share head bartender, legend. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about him. But he came to me. We had lunch at a place, the Elysian Cafe, the place I worked at before Employees Only. I purchased it back in 2018 with the chef.
Yeah.
So we had lunch there, and he said, "I want to do the SG Club, which is his bar in Tokyo, in New York." He's like, "Would you be the Guzzle guy? Would you take Guzzle and make it a little bit more New York?" And I said, "I'd be honored to," because we had just kind of started our partnership with it. We were about a year and a half into our partnership, and it was going really well. And it was a no-brainer, to be a part of this. And I found the old Cornelia Street Cafe space that went out of business maybe a year prior. Cornelia Street Cafe had been there for 41 years. It was a performance space in the basement and like a cafe up top. And I was like, "I'm going to be your guard dog, Shingo." So I'd love to do this Guzzle thing. And it took us years and years to open Sip and Guzzle, but I really believed in the project. I stuck with it. Our local partner here, Justin, did a great job of keeping the project alive. Making sure we got all our signatures. He was sort of the project manager. He kind of got thrusted in to being a project manager because I don't know how to do any of that shit. Get licensing, I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah, get the lawyers, let them deal with it.
Yeah. So he stepped outside of his comfort zone as an investor, and he was always passionate about bars. So Justin helped us. I stuck with it, and we opened up in 2024, and it's again the most
gone
fulfilling
well,
time.
it seems like.
It's gone well. Gone
Yeah.
well. Right place, right time.
The best American bar, right? Or
North
what is the
America.
technical title?
Number one on North
America.
America's 50 bar list is what we won. That's the 50 bars is the 50 best bars is the what do you call them? The committee, the award, and we won number one in North America in Vancouver this past I think April.
That's awesome.
We were number 5 the first year, and then that was awesome. I never won 50 best bars. And so you never expect to win. If you never won the award, how can you expect to win? So Shingo hadn't won either. But he comes to Vancouver the next year, a few months back, and he's like, "What do you think this year?" And I was like, 15 maybe, I don't know. Like, it's easier to go backwards.
Yeah.
No, it's easier to go backwards than it is to go forward. It's
Statistically,
it's tough.
yeah. Well, yeah.
You don't want to give your hopes up. So then we're sitting there, we're right in the front, and they're, "All right, number 15 from New York City." I was like, "Fuck." You spend the whole year hoping to get the email that you're on the list, and then you do. And when you're at this event, you don't want to hear your name again, because that means you won. So it's like, so the 15, but it was another bar. I was like, "Oof." And then the bar that won last year was called at some point, the last like 2-3 years. I don't know how many they won, twice, I think. Maybe 3 times in a row. I don't even remember. And I was like, "Oh no!" And then the bar that finished second was called, and we still hadn't been called yet. And I was like, "Wow!" I was like, then you really the nerves start to hit you.
As it get to 5, 4, 3, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're there at this point. It's like, well, you're in it. Like, let's see, can this actually happen? And again, I did not believe it was going to happen. And there was final 2, right? And the range of emotions on this is hilarious. The lady, the MC, whatever, the host, I don't know, whatever you call her. She's like, "All right, number 2 opened up in 2024 in the heart of a bustling city." And I was like, "Oh, motherfucker, that's us." So I turned around to our little fire team, our little militia of people that came out, and just giving some hugs and hugs and high fives, saying, "Hey, that's us." Like, I conceded. I was just like, "Good job, everyone."
Second's not bad.
Yeah, second's great. There's, hold your head up. This is amazing. Good job, everyone. And then she's like, "Known for the subway tiles on the walls," and I'm like, I hear it. I'm like, it's fucking brick, but classic, like they don't know what they're talking about, I'm like, and that's like known for their aperitivos. I'm like, it's like classics, riffs on classics, but I don't know who fed this woman this information. And then I'm starting to get kind of offended that they kept describing our bar wrong, right? So I was like, who gave this lady this information about us? This is not us. And then one of the other people in the group was like, it's not us. Oh my God, it's not us. We won. I'm like, oh my God. And then like in Mexico City, I'm like, we're not in Mexico City. We're in New York. I'm like, so then the range of emotions from sort of like sadness that it's like, not sadness, but just like defeat, I guess, or just like, second place is our, it's like gratitude, but still, you're that close. So for second place to sort of being offended that they kept talking about our bar in the wrong way, and then to just being completely elated and over the moon and grateful, and then I had to make a speech, and I was like, I don't know what the hell was I going to say. Just thank you. I just did a quick classy thank you to everybody, and just went in the back and celebrated with the team. Not in like, I'm not a big like screaming, yelling, jumping up and down
not
kind
a
of guy.
streaker.
No, I liked it. I just took it all in. I just stopped, took a nice deep breath, and just remembered this moment, because if it never happens again, I'll be satisfied. It's just it was just one of those things where you don't do it for that recognition, but to get a nod from your peers is a big deal, and just it's strictly extracurricular, the bar, the home, the team, everything, the community, that all comes first. But to be able to just get a little nod for one night, it's something I'll never forget for sure. And it's something I'm immensely grateful for, and I'll hold on to it until I do something stupid in the future and tarnish my legacy.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. Yeah, but
before we do wrap this up, I was going to ask, do you think there's something that makes you different than the run-of-the-mill bartender? I have one theory, and I don't know if it drives with what you were going to say. But
I'll tell you what drives my passion for the business is I got a big sense of humor. I think you got to have a sense of humor when you're dealing with alcohol, and it's like bars are funny, man. I've always been a big fan. I secretly wanted to be like a sketch comic, but I just didn't have the courage for it, so I joined the Marines instead. But I love comedy. I love stand up. I love sketch comedy mainly. That was sort of something like humoristic stuff. When I first started bartending, the Chappelle Show was on, and that was like the thing. And just the creativity and the randomness, like I think hospitality requires a level of imagination and cool bars and cool moments. I think to be funny and comedy and just to take things, let it roll off your shoulder. It just requires a level of sort of imagination and creativity in your head. And for me, humor is what fuels that. Everything's funny to me. Everything.
I'm glad you went there, because I was going to say that it was the rare combination of kind of a lightheartedness plus discipline.
Yeah.
Like going back to when you started winning those contests. Like, not a lot of bartenders will start going out for contests right at the beginning, but I think that kind of glimpsed at like, oh, there's a seriousness here, even if it is
there's a time to turn it on, there's a time to turn it off. Yeah, you gotta sort of know, and I'm still figuring it out to this day. But I'd like to think, when it's time to get serious, I'm ready to get serious.
Yeah.
But for the meantime, the other 99% of the time, I'm just a big goofball. And like.
Yeah. I mean, there's a different way to bartend Tuesday at 3 p.m. versus Friday at 11 p.m. It's there just is, and if you can't figure out that differse, you're not going to last long.
Yeah, and there's always the POS system where your back is to the crowd, where you can talk all your shit.
Can you believe Sally? Yeah. No,
Sure. If there was a microphone in the POS system back in the day, I wouldn't be here right now. Yeah.
The number of times it's like, he's back and that is not his wife. And you're like, oh yes, all these things.
They definitely needed a bleep button if that was the case. Yeah, but it's Bars are
Yeah.
fun. Bars are funny. For me, I think bartending is. I kind of relate it to being an athlete as opposed to being an artist. Being an athlete slash like craftsman, like a trade. And that's just kind of there is levels of artistry in what we do. But for me, it's just I want to be at the top of my game. I want to see. And when I say top of my game, that doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else. I just want to look in the mirror and know I showed up today. And I can't do it every day, but
Yeah.
more often than not, I look at myself and I'm like, all right, what could I have done better? What could I have done? How do I get better at this? How do I stay at this point in my career? Is how do I stay at a high
Mm.
level?
Did I give it my all?
Yeah, did I?
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to lean on your colleagues. That's why it's good to be it's good to pick other people up when they're not feeling well, because some days you're gonna need it too. So yeah, that's just how my approach is, very much of an athlete. And how do I stay in how do I stay in it? How do I prolong my career? This is what I'm trying to do right now. How do I keep it long? How do I keep it fresh? And how do I keep it exciting? That's where I'm at now. Whereas back in the day, it was like, how do I get better? How do I get better? How do I get better? For me, it's I think what I know is what I know. I learn I learn new shit every now and again, but I'm kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more updates of the app there's going to be for me. I think this is what we're rolling with.
Yeah.
This is going to be the final form, and I'm just going to try to ride it out, and we'll see. But I could be wrong. Who knows?
That weird carrot distillate. It's like, oh, okay, I'm good. I've got enough here. I've got tequila.
Well, that's what
We're
we
fine.
got Sip
Yeah.
for. So for Sip and Guzzle, Guzzle's the bar that I work. It's the first bar when you walk in, and yeah, it's the higher volume standing room, pop in, pop out, very neighborhoody. The drinks at Guzzle are drinks flavors you love. We call it comfort drinks, right? Then down at Sip is Shingo's bar, a lot more Japanese in flavor, a lot more Japanese in style. Sit down only. I hate the word more exclusive, but it is like it takes a little bit more planning to get involved there because it is sit down only and it's a small room. So cobbler shakers and stuff, and we're like free pouring, and we use jiggers and we free pour. We have both, but a lot of movement, a lot of higher energy, more in your face. Whereas Sip is a bit more product focused. All the drinks more technique driven. All the drinks have more enigmatic ingredients. So like on the menu at Guzzle, you know exactly what you're getting before you get it. Where at Sip is a bit more mysterious, and it requires a bit more talking. As you're sipping these drinks that take days to prepare ahead of time, the bartenders or servers they kind of walking you through how it's created. So it's a nice experience down there, and then you go back up and you're back in the bustling Manhattan.
Yeah. That's cool. You got the mullet of bars. It's like business up top, party in the back, and yeah, let's do it.
Where do you live, Andrew?
Omaha, Nebraska, right now.
Oh wow,
Oh no. Yeah.
I love Omaha, Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I
run a
drove cross
steakhouse out here,
country
so yeah.
like 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago I drove cross country, and Omaha was one of my stops. There was this old like a hotel I stayed in that it was like an old building. It looked like an old school almost.
Probably downtown.
It
I'm
was
guessing.
downtown, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
went to
Cool.
a
Yeah.
bar
Yeah.
that was really dope. It was a horseshoe bar. They were making cocktails. I just searched for best cocktails in Omaha, but I had my dog with me. So there's this app called Bring Fido, which
Oh,
which
that's cool.
it shows you all the pet friendly hotels, and you could book right there with the dog and everything. So I
Ooh.
forget. I think it was Washington or something. I forget it. The hotel was named after one of these guys, one of these old guys, old
Yeah.
American guys. But
That's the downside of living somewhere. I don't know all the hotels well because I just live here.
it was right by the theater. So there's like a theater there. It's like right across the
There's
street
a
from the
couple,
theater.
but probably right across the street from the Orpheum. Probably.
That's exactly where it was. Yeah, the
Okay,
Orpheum.
yeah. So you were right downtown. That is a beautiful,
Such a
beautiful
charming,
city.
and it was on
Yeah.
a Sunday, so it was like there was no traffic. I could park wherever, and just spent the night, and then the beginning of the day there. So it's like, Omaha was dope. In fact, it was my favorite part of the whole trip. Was Omaha.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good spot to live.
I wish I'd
It's-
have known you sooner. We would have
Yeah.
grabbed a drink.
You never know. It might be better to actually just go to New York and go see you there. So yeah.
No, man, don't sleep on Omaha, ladies and gentlemen. This is dope. It's a dope, cute little dope, quaint little city, man. And maybe next time if I ever drive cross country again, maybe I'll
you got my info.
I'll pop in. Yeah. We'll do an in-person. An in-person podcast. Where are they now? Serves you right. Where are they now? We'll do it after I do something to tarnish my legacy.
There you go. So. Yes. the real where are you now? Before we wrap up, is there anything that we missed that you'd be remiss that we didn't cover? We hit
man, I yapped for like an hour. I didn't even give you a chance to talk. I'm sorry.
No, it's
when I get
you've done
rolling,
a lot more
man.
than me, so I'm loving it.
Yeah, when I get rolling, what can I say? But I guess it's better than doing less. But no, it was an extreme, ultimate pleasure to be here to talk to you. And thanks a lot for taking an interest in what I do every day, and for your listeners and everything. If you're ever in New York, look me up, hit me up. I'd love to host you. I'm there at the bar. I'm usually there behind the bar, especially maybe not so much this summer. I'm going away a lot, but in the fall, I'll be back behind that bar full time again.
Are there any good spots for them to go learn more online? Like any websites?
Instagram. Instagram's the way to get a lot of this stuff. Go to Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll look up the handles. I'll make sure they're in the show notes. Just
Mighty Schneider, at Mighty Schneider, MIGHTYSCHNEIDEY.
That is definitely your Instagram handle.
There's an E in there.
I love it.
There's an E in there at the end because I don't know, the Y, the one with just the Y was taken at one point, so I added the E. I don't know, whatever.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, Richard, whatever your name actually happens to be.
Get the bleep button ready for that one.
No.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to get to talk to you, man.
Yeah, same here. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you again for listening. That was our show for today. Now, if you have not had a chance to check out the website, please do. It's servesyouRightPod.com, all one word. We have past episodes, a place to get in contact with me, notes, and a place to sign up for our weekly newsletter if you're interested. All right, rock and roll. Thanks.